Mega. Now coming in 2-1 versus 1-2. Mega can tie it up here with a win. Detonation Focus Me can look to contest Vega if they can find a win here and then beat them later in the day.
And that is really what they're trying to look to do here. DFM trying to keep pace with Vega. Again, only the top team from the group will make it out to that knockout stage where they will have a best of 5 against the Flash Wolves, which would be hard enough on its own. And if you do fall down there, you do get a second chance against the loser between Team Liquid and Fengvu Buffalo. So it's not just that one chance, it is 2 international best of 5s, a lot on the line for these squads. And DFM, this is the first kind of game where they've really stepped away, I think, from just heavy scaling where it's very clear they want to play slow. So now it's going to be interesting to see, can they pick up the pace? Can they actually be this more aggressive, proactive team when they do draft that style of composition?
And anytime we talk about being proactive in the early game, we usually will keep our eyes on the jungle. And Steel has had, you know, pretty solid results across this stage, has mostly just been kind of an engaged bot a lot of the time on the Jarvan. Have to see if he can be a bigger, more aggressive threat early on. Kindred feels like she probably has the scaling advantage there, but of course the ability, the Cataclysm and the Flag and Drag can just be so incredibly crucial.
Yeah, and you're a way in for the Galio, right? So even if individually you are maybe getting less done, you still can be a super critical part of that team fight. And it is going to be them setting up vertical jungling again. This is exactly what Steel did last time when he thought he was going to have losing lanes on the top side early on. He just goes into vertical jungling. They invade with the bottom lane. They take away the blue buff. And this is, I think, really, really smart, right? Because you should see the Kennen winning that top lane against Akali early on. So if you're going to be getting pressure there, if the Kindred's be invading you anyway, just trade sides of the map.
And of course, we've already seen them dive this bottom side too. So Lloyd and top have to be very careful here. And I am wondering if June and Rocky are willing to make the same aggressive play and potentially dive Evie. Akali, once she has a few levels, notoriously pretty much impossible to dive with the power of that Shroud. Will be a bit difficult, but now good a bit of trading in the mid lane. Conqueror finally fully stacked means that G4 is a little bit more comfortable, especially trading for the Aftershock there.
Yeah, we'll be in a pretty decent spot. It was a good early ward also on the bot side from Pop, I do believe, who dropped his trinket in the river. So he actually did spot out what was Steel looking for a potential level 2 gank. He actually went down that river brush before going back to doing the scuttle and taking away the wolves. So he's going to fully clear out June's jungle on this side of the map, but then retreat back to his own side. He has the pushing bottom lane. They have the safety to play aggressive, and this is actually the same level 3 dive that they did exactly in that previous game. We'll see if they can make this happen.
Will they find the execution? The 5-4, the double taunt, they're going to leap in, they're going to immediately focus the Tom Kench and burn him down. Only level 2, no thick skin, no chance. Gang running, but once again, the 1-for-1, just like last time.
Yeah, it's exactly the same almost. We'll see though, can Ceros get out? June is coming.
Yeah, Ceros is able to walk away. Good amount of pressure in the mid lane, but not able to force a summoner. G4 very confident in those trades, but Udapon and Steel are on the way up. They want to accelerate the pace of the game. They are not interested in playing it slow. Flag and drag forward. June now running for his life. The stun is not going to connect. Ceros leaps in. Good bit of damage. Will not go for the adduct there, and then both sides are going to back off, but getting the flash from the Kindred.
Yeah, pretty nice to get that flash out. You know, they do trade that as Steel did blow his own flash, and it is, as you said, again, that same 1-for-1 down on the bottom side. This time, though, critically, Lloyd is actually not falling behind as far as the farm goes, right? So this is that level 3 dive. Steel comes in from behind, full clear, double taunt into double knockup here. Actually, no, just barely missing Lloyd. They do knock down Pop very quickly, but Gang not quite able to survive through Lloyd and that last turret shot. Still, I think, pretty well worth it, as MF is going to have all this farm to pick up and will have the first blood advantage, plus was given time to actually make a roam and impact mid lane. So you like to see that proactive play from DFM.
Absolutely do, and as you mentioned, because they haven't given up any CS for it, it actually feels like it's completely fine for the side of Mega. Well, I do love to see the productivity, and when it's the exact same play, it feels like Lloyd can kind of see that one coming. Once again, credit to the early ward, but now as we check in on the top side, Evie was getting pretty blasted in the early levels in CS, kind of as expected for the Akali, but it's done a good job kind of recouping some of those losses now that he has a few levels under his belt. And Ceros has to play careful here. G4, of course, with the flash, can dash to the minions. 3 stacks once he says level 5. Conqueror will proc, but just a quick dash out from Ceros and June. Walking through mid lane. We'll give info on where the jungler is, just trying to help G4 clear, it seems like.
Yeah, just wanted to help him push out because they want to get mid lane pressure to go to this scuttle, and that is the next target. You can see them all moving down to the scuttle. He already had one mark off the scuttle, and Pop is just going to chomp this up.
That's his scuttle, but he's now used to Devour, actually a major cooldown. Knocked back with the Blast Cone and is forced to flash away. Horse not going to reset here, but just walking back, and it looks like it will be secured. One man stunned there, but haven't seen that much burn for a Scuttle Crab in a while.
I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense, right? DFM has the priority on the bottom side, so they're going to roam up and contest this. Both Yutapon and Gang make the trip where Lloyd was still in lane, farming under his turret. So this is very well done from the Japanese squad, and they're able to take away that Scuttle, get that additional gold onto Steel, and also critically deny another mark there from June. Steel also in position to potentially repeat this dive, especially now that June has been spotted on the top side of the map. Eevee's got to get out of there, but they could look for something.
Shroud, but will just look like walk away. Is not forced to use the flash there. Devour now used on the Ashe. Lloyd taking a lot of damage in a bad trade. Jarvan free now to start up the Drake, although it looks like he started it and then spotted the control ward. So a bit of an awkward situation. Will still be fine. Ceros went out very well on the back end of a trade. Aftershock now proc. G4 has to give him a bit more respect. Good bit of damage though. Evie now in trouble. Rocky with a level 6 trying to find the all-in. Will not force anything outside of a flash to come in from the side of Evie. Ceros now stepping forward though. Has the Aurelia ultimate. Is not going to connect. Huge stun comes in there, and June just going to try to trace down for the third hit. Not going to connect.
Yeah, not quite able to get it, but DFM really picking up the pace here, and honestly both sides being a lot more proactive. Grabbing that early Ocean Drake though is massive for DFM. 6 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, you have the Ocean. It's often considered a free laning phase after that point, as it becomes so difficult for your opponent to actually poke you down, especially in a matchup like for Kennen. You know, Kennen really wants to be dominating this lane, harassing the Akali, putting it so the Akali doesn't even have the health or resources to actually look for an all-in. Ocean can really kind of put a wrench in the gears of that plan.
You can see her now healing up. Of course, no back yet, so won't have any major items, but when you combine that with a Gunblade early on, Rocky is going to have a really hard time as Ale. And I think I kind of have to look elsewhere now. Without the support of a gank, it does feel like Rocky's really going to struggle to have any kill pressure, just given the sheer amount of mobility on the side of the Akali.
Definitely agree. That being said, though, Rocky is building towards the Proto Belt, so going for more of the team fight style anyway. So he certainly does still have the opportunity, even if he's being pressured in the 1v1. Just look for teleports. He's held on to that teleport, so he can look to try to move around the map and group and try to make things happen there. And does set up a nice little freeze that should deny at least one wave from Evie.
G4, meanwhile, in the mid lane is playing very confidently, knows that he has the ult advantage, whereas Ceros currently has nothing. Of course, hijack available, but G4 not an eligible target. So again, steps moving down. Steel level 6 as well. Could look for a big engage here, but stun just barely not going to connect. Of course, only half a second, but would have been more than enough time for the Jarvan to commit with the flag and drag.
Yeah, and you also have to remember, G4 is actually very, very squishy. He rushed Sheen, so this is not a phage. This is not early tabbies or any sort of defensive build that you often see the Aurelias going. This is more about the burst, more about the all-in potential from his side, but it also does mean you're more susceptible to getting knocked down by your opponents. Steel now back here down to the bottom side. They know that Kindred was up on the top half of the map and could perhaps threaten this 4-man dive. Ceros is coming too.
G4 coming in late, though they need to commit to the play here if they want to go for it. Lloyd will get taunted up. Tomcatch immediately going to try to eat up there, but the TP now coming in. Rocky on the backside. Yutapon has been caught out. He does not have a safety net of the Tomcatch, and he will go down. Yutapon killed by Lloyd. Steel now in enemy territory. Will he be able to make it out of this one? Kindred looking in, fishing for that mark. She kills the Jarvan. It's going to be a big deal towards that scaling option. Steel, I feel like there's any way out here. Tomcatch just waiting. One more. Going to eat him up. Most likely spit him right back in. Doesn't even need to. G4 going to grab it. Kindred gets the mark, and Mega walking away on top.
Yeah, that dive was so easily turned around. They had a deep ward there for Rocky. Evie doesn't even join, but Yutapon goes down. Steel commits the flash and still goes down, plus gives over that mark. So very well responded to here from Mega. Looking like they're playing a much more solid game here compared to last time around, really being able to answer the pressure that DFM is putting on.
Yeah, using the TP, Rocky said, the team fighting build, finding the flank here, so clean to watch.
Yeah, very, very nicely done. Gang goes in for the taunt. They're not able to get both members, though. They don't get Pop, so Pop easily devours Lloyd and keeps him very, very safe. When the Kennen arrives, Yutapon is pretty much doomed, and I think Steel at this point, if there's any hope, it's maybe flashing to the left, but I think you probably should just accept your death and hold on to that summoner. Does want to try to go for that outplay and try to escape, but not only are they able to get the kill, they donated to the solo lane. G4 going to be able to be happy to grab that.
Yeah, you talked about the lack of tankiness there, but now just gets to go back and buy a Fade, put a bit more health, balance out a little bit of the tankiness that Sios will get through the shielding on the Abscond Abduct as well as the Aftershock, and Trinity Force Aurelia, very terrifying. Steel is going to dash forward, immediately going to throw out the Cataclysm, but June is on the way in. Evie coming forward, but there's 3 members here. They need to make their way out. Steel has burned everything as far as mobility goes. Evie, of course, has the freedom just to dash to safety. We'll use the second half of the ultimate just to make it out. And it's a difficult call there right now. Mega absolutely just reading the play over and over again.
Yeah, certainly the case. And Rocky was barely didn't have his ultimate. Like, it was really, really close. If he had his ult, they could have potentially actually just turned that around and maybe even gotten some kills themselves. But at the very least, able to easily walk away. Rocky is up pretty significantly in farm. He's the one that TP'd away from the lane and actually made that play also. So credit to him. Having a very, very good game. Also having gone Klepto means he's going to be even more ahead in gold.
The Ashe sitting very comfortably too. The plate's kind of balancing us out, but a 300 gold lead for her as well. Yutapon wants to see what he can get done with that ult in the mid game, but I mean, Evie, who was able to grab 2-plate stop, is still at a significant advantage. The power of the Klepto. And it feels like Rocky right now is just the higher impact top laner in this game. We're going to have to wait and see what Evie can do once he gets a Gunblade under his belt, if he can provide that solo kill threat.
Yeah, and I think certainly he'll be able to have his opportunities, and if he can start getting those kills in the side lane, it becomes much more difficult. You know, anytime Rocky is actually pulled away, the Akali can start to pressure turrets, the Akali can start to get more done there. And that likely is going to be the option for DFM. I do think they are a team more to commit to just kind of sitting in those side lanes and trying to get their advantages there. And Yutapon building towards that Blade of the Rune King here. But it does look like he's kind of taking a bit of a pit stop, perhaps going for some early lethality, because he does have double longswords on top of that Bilgewater Cutlass and the dagger. So perhaps just deciding he wants to go back into a Ghost Blade before actually completing the Blade of the Rune King.
Sustain, of course, going to keep him in lane. Maybe just wants more burst on the ultimate.
Yeah. I mean, it is a squishy team, so I think it's defensible to just rush, you know, Ghost Blade, but at that point, you probably shouldn't have even bothered starting to build towards the Blade of the Rune King and maybe just pick up that later, because, you know, the full item completion is always worth a lot more than the parts.
Heavy forcing the ultimate out from Kennen. It's going to be massive if he can extend this play, try to get the kill. Good bit of damage laid down. Has to be careful here, though, trying to dash any further under the tower. Of course, doesn't have an extra stack of the ultimate to clean that one up, but great trade. Honestly, trading a Kali ult for Kennen ult at this stage of the game is very favorable, I feel like, for the side of Detonation Focus Me.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that is because, you know, if the Kennen groups and has that ultimate, it's a massive threat. And if he TP's in without ultimate, it really doesn't do anything. So, you know, it's so much about that. Akali wants to stay in the side lane, and that much pressure before even having the Gunblade certainly does bode well. Infernal is up, though, and DFM may want to try to force this. We'll see if they're going to be able to.
Steel just sadly missing the flag and drag there. But now they're immediately going to try to kick the fight off. Cataclysm coming in, but Kindred could also try to move in to buy a bit more time for the allies. Tahm Kench caught out. Instantly the ult comes out as well, but on the backside, Kindred ult has been used. June's still alive. Needs to be careful. Dashing over the wall, running for his life, but Evie is here for cleanup duty. Now dashing forward. Will he take out Pop as well? One more passive proc might be enough. Only one kill taken down in the end, but it does give Jarvan access to the dragon. Tahm Kench ult now channeling to try to take him to safety. Team is going to retreat. G4 there to ward off any further aggression.
Yeah, but at the very least, they're going to have the Infernal, and that is the big deal there. They do get one kill. They are losing turret plates up on the top side, but it's actually Ceros TPing in to the top lane to try to get a flank, to try to potentially threaten Rocky, because Rocky didn't have his own teleport, so he could not answer, and Ceros now looking, likely can't find it.
Protobelt is going to fish, but will not find it, as you mentioned. A few more tower plates. Kennen can extend his individual lead, but Infernal now picked up. Of course, if Detonation wins, and it's Mega and INTZ already eliminated just 3 games into the day. Mega wins. 4-way tiebreaker still possible, technically.
Yeah, definitely could be looking for that. Either way, here is the engage coming in from Steel, blocking them up. You can see Yutapon holding on to the ultimate until Lloyd has been spat out there by Pop, and then June spotted by the Aurelia ult over the wall. There was a ward already sitting there too. Evie able to hop over and clean that one up. Does grab a kill, but it is still Mega in the gold advantage. A lot of that certainly going to be in the hands of Rocky, who did stay top lane, didn't have his teleport up, grabbed some turret plates, is up on farm, and they're going to be feeling pretty good about their situation. But Infernal is worth more and more the later the game goes. So DFM, I still think it was a pretty worthy trade.
And of course, as the Kennen hits level 11, we do still have to keep our eyes on Rocky to see what he can do with that lead, if he can turn that into something greater than just a 1v1. Ceros still playing aggressive onto Lloyd, trying to make use of that Aftershock. Lloyd potentially in trouble, but Pop just playing safe. Ceros flashing out safety. Steel going to try to get in. Ooh, Abscond coming up just enough time. That last auto most likely would have taken him down.
Yeah, that was really close. And Ceros actually, the panic flashes in a line, still gets hit by that Ash arrow, so almost does go down, but it ends up being a trade of summoners. Ceros is flashed down for Lloyd's. It's like a pretty reasonable trade, all things considered. Thankfully for Ceros, Steel was there to back him up, but it is Mega now starting up the Rift Herald.
Yeah, Lloyd healthy enough, uses the TP back to the top side and is able to keep the pressure there. Steel now going to threaten, but it's 4 members strong here, and
he shouldn't even try. I mean, there's such a low chance that you smite that away, and you'd be giving up your life.
Oh, a lot higher chance now. Oh, no.
You hate to see that.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Oh, well, Jun may be able to turn it around here, although now the Jarvan's going in. Will not likely win out on the 1v1, but that is a massive bullet time. Rocky trying to turn it back with the Dolphin Zone. Level 11 coming in for the cannon. They want to lock him up. Rocky flashing over the wall. G4 look for the 1v1 off the side, but Evie comes out on top. Healing just barely enough off that Triumph to survive in the end. So incredibly close.
This is a resilient Rift Herald. It's reset again. It's back to full health. No one could take it down, and Rocky sent packing there, does have to go back to base. Both his summoners are used. DFM will actually get the Rift Herald in the extended play. Mega going to be kicking themselves for leashing that earlier. It should have just been theirs and they could have just walked out, but too much juggling of the aggro. It does reset, and as a result, they're going to lose not only the fight, but the objective. And remember, first tower is still available, so DFM could use the Rift Herald there to grab that advantage.
That 1K deficit could just turn into an even game, and we already talked about the Drakes earlier on. Kennen, of course, having another, in theory, solid ult, but ultimately not able to amount to much, and kind of turns against him in this play.
Yeah, here this is one more time. Steel and June fighting off over on the side. The bullet time comes through. Rocky did not have his flash for this, so it took him some time to actually close the gap onto Udapon, and then Udapon says, well, I can actually, flash over you after you, and Rocky is forced to run out. Not sure if he would have had enough damage to actually kill him if he instantly had the flash straight onto Udapon or not, but either way, didn't actually use it immediately and then does kind of get punished.
Yeah, give him the benefit of the doubt that wasn't available initially to start the fight, I guess, but yeah, it's a difficult situation. Of course, once the MF has already unleashed that bullet time, once you've already forced so many members away, it feels like the Kennen ult is too little too late in that circumstance. And Evie, of course, was only level 10 in the play, but has now hit level 11, is closer to that first item. Gunblade, a pretty expensive early purchase.
Yeah, taking him quite a bit of time to get it. His farm is actually quite low. He's spent a fair bit of time roaming around. He is down, about 40 CS to Rocky. So Rocky certainly, has one out on the lane phase. The pick worked in that regard. Both their solo laners are actually pretty significantly ahead as far as the farm does go. But the gold lead not too big on the side of Mega. It is 2K. First turret, though, has been taken by Mega as well. And DFM, it's one auto on that mid turret.
Will most likely take it down. Of course, reminder that Rift Herald is still available. You can check on Steel's Trinket and see it there. Would be surprised to see them use it mid, but there's 2 incredibly low health turrets in bot and mid. Maybe gets used top. Finish and focus. Be kind of debating on what their next option should be.
Yeah, this one's just going to go down. They're going to give it up. There's no reason really, I think, to commit to trying to defend it. It's one auto to actually take it down. So the one thing you can do is, if you want to use it to try to draw pressure when you're going for the dragon, is you can actually drop the rift in a lane, then go start up that neutral objective. Doesn't look like they're going to be forced to do so, though. We'll be able to take down this Ocean, and after the Ocean, you should be able to go bot, pick up that last turret, then maybe rotate top and actually drop the Rift Herald there, as you were suggesting, try to threaten that final outer tower and get a lot of gold over on your squad.
And Detonation Focus Me just feels like in the driver's seat of this game right now, taking advantage of the fact that they know that Kennen does not have a TP, does not have a flash, and while he is terrifying, if you can find the setup, pretty much impossible with all the vision that Detonation Focus we currently have for him to find any sort of flank without those 2 abilities.
Yeah, definitely very difficult, for Kennen to actually get all the way in, and especially, if the Galio is in between you, you basically need the flash to have really any hope of getting back on those carries, because he can certainly, impede your progress pretty easily if you are just trying to straight up run through.
Now we see the setup here. G4 walking out of the bush. Ceros just going to dash away, not interested in going for any further trading there. And it feels like he is in a comfortable spot. Can wait for his team to reset now. Akali with the Gunblade has, of course, the stopwatch as well. So sets it up for a little bit more 1v1 threat, a nice bit of sustain. And this is where we could start to see the matchup shift a little bit. That 5-point strike just giving so much healing to if she is able to have access to the creep wave.
Yeah, it definitely can be very, very powerful, but Rocky also building more for that 1v1. Does go for the Banshees instead of something more along the lines of the Zonias, which would be more useful in the straight-up 5v5 team fight. So trying to make sure that Evie isn't able to just get those solo kills, to be able to start running those side lanes, because he knows that would be really, really difficult to come back from if they lose control there. And Rift Herald will be dropped, but this is very, very far away from anything, so there's going to be tons of time for Mega to actually respond. We'll see if it's even able to get a charge off.
Evie stepping forward, Rocky immediately forced to use his ult, one stack, and Evie going to now use the Shroud to just make it away. I think intentionally going in, trying to force the ultimate by just threatening there.
Yeah, and anytime you trade that ult, you're going to be pretty happy about it. The only kind of caveat we have to give now is that Rocky is building up a fair bit of CDR, so the ultimate is going to start becoming, you know, lower and lower cooldown. Multiple members here from Mega are up to respond to this Rift Herald, but
Stolen Aurelia ult now used. They're just trying to pressure off here. Udapon, of course, with his ultimate available, could threaten steal. Now stepping forward. Keep your eye on the bullet time. Where's it going to go? Galio leaps in, but no one is there. Tom Kench now coming in. Detonation Focus Me just going to back away. Tower was set in their sights. See if the Herald can be stopped before it gets the charge off here, and it looks like it will. Hit in the eye, of course, doing so much damage.
yeah, kind of disappointed that Mega even gave up that first turret, though, honestly. You know, that was a Rift Herald that was dropped over by the Grump, right? There's tons of time to actually walk up there and try to prevent that from happening. They did have June and G4 up there, but they elected to keep Lloyd mid lane. So Lloyd pushes out the wave, gets a little bit of damage down on the turret, but really, I don't think a very worthwhile trade. They could have simply used the Abyssal Voyage earlier, bring Pop and Lloyd up, deny the charge even going down, and stop some of that gold from going over to DFM.
Good news for Mega is at least that Rocky now has the flash and the TP up and available, so maybe we can see them make that big play.
Yeah.
You mentioned the CDR, kind of constantly making sure that his ultimate is more regularly available, along with the level 2 in the ultimate, since he is level 13. And once again, Evie's still falling very far behind in terms of the individual 1v1, and I feel like the greatest value he has is just denying this kind of team fights, but Mega still could just threaten this big explosive fight and come out on top.
Yeah, they definitely can. I mean, I think that their 5v5 probably is more effective at this point in the game. Both their solo laners are stronger. They have, you know, Kindred and Tom Kench to deny a lot of the assassination ability from both the Sylas as well as the J4 Kali. So, you know, a lot of the dive potential becomes pretty risky. If you can't actually, you know, kill off the Kindred instantly before that Lambster Spike comes down, the fight gets much more difficult with double marksman kind of reining in that consistent DPS.
Execution. I feel like we've been here before, where we talk about execution in a fight being the most important thing. Maybe just because it's a hallmark of League of Legends. Maybe because it's a hallmark of Group B. Now Udapon looking for the individual 1v1, and I think it's just going to kill G4 here. Oh. Well, he's really far ahead of Ceros.
I don't think that's supposed to happen.
That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah. When the MF is running down your Aurelia, I think that's when you start hitting them with question marks.
Yeah, I feel like, do we have a question mark ping on the draw thing?
No question marks.
No question mark pings.
But you can imagine one.
You
can hear it.
Ping. You can all hear it. You've all either question mark pinged or been question mark pinged at some time in your league career.
Of course.
And that is brutal.
Yeah, and honestly, really well done by Udapon, right?
Yeah.
To be able to actually recognize that he can take this play. He finds G4, gets the first autos out, so he does have first shot, and that is really what allows him to kind of go for this. But the stun came out so late there from G4. I think he kind of hesitated because he wasn't sure who else was there with the MF.
Yeah.
Right? If you realize that that is just MF, as soon as she shoots you, you alter, you Q to her, you throw down your stun. If you hit her, like, she just dies right away. But, you know, Udapon was able to get multiple shots off before G4 actually committed to the fight, and the stun came out only as G4 died.
And you have to wonder, right? Because, I mean, between Youmuu's, between Blade of the Rune King active and red buff, once you back away as Aurelia, without teammates there to support you, you're dead. Even if there are people there on the enemy team, you will die to just the MF. So it feels like in that choice, in that split-second moment, the G4's decision-making kind of failed him. He had to go in.
Yeah, and I think that would have been the choice. And had he immediately gone in, I think he probably just straight up wins that. You know, Udapon might end up looking pretty silly, or at the very least having to flash out. Either way, Udapon does grab the kill, and working towards a Duskblade now, this MF is looking pretty damn strong. You know, closing in on those 3 items, albeit it is fairly cheap items, as those, you know, the Ghost Blade is certainly not an IE or anything like that. But Lloyd now getting pushed in. We'll have to be careful here.
And the rest of Mega trying to get vision down on the Baron. They will do so successfully, but now that's the key to get the fight kicked off. Ash Arrow misses. That could be big trouble now for the rest of the team, but it was the fake Ash Arrow. Lloyd's is still up and available. Gang now gonna flash forward. That's the double stun. Udapon over the wall. Stun goes in on the Akali. Kennen, where is he gonna go? They need a big ultimate here. He hits onto Evie. He hits on multiple members, but it's Ceros. Udapon is raking havoc in the back lines. Both teams just deleting each other off the face of the map. But right now, Detonation Focus becoming on top. Evie still alive. Flashes out to safety. Ceros suppressed, sucked up, and now killed here by the Tahm Kench. Pop has to run for his life though. Steal on the way in. Udapon is dead. Major damage sources are gone. If they extend this fight, it's going to take a while, and both sides are just going to back away.
Yeah, at least for Mega, they are able to kill off Ceros. Ceros probably could have just backed out, though, and kept it at 3-for-1. Instead, he does go down, so fairly even trade across the board. Both top laners committing their TPs, coming in, and when Udapon goes down, they don't have a lot of DPS left, and you can start to see how Mega perhaps can survive through the initial moments of those fights and start to turn it around. So once again, Pop does have a good devour onto June. Eats him up. He does flash out, saving his Kindred. And as they commit, the wards are dropped for the Kennen TP. Ash Arrow comes across, connecting on Akali. Udapon flashes over, looks to finish off June, is able to do so, but then G4 onto him, taking him out. And on the bottom side, the Soul Laners are losing. And at this point, Ceros could just run, but Ceros decides he's going to flash back in. Very ambitious, thinking he could take down Rocky, who is still quite healthy and has that Banshee's Veil for some additional magic resist, so does donate a kill over at the end, but still, DFM come up on top, 1 kill.
Good situation for them to be in, and it feels like very execution-heavy team fight. Basically 2 entirely split fights. You have to wonder if it was a full-on 5v5, if it was Udapon's bullet time or the Kennen ultimate, it would have reigned supreme. Rocky, of course, getting closer to getting the Zhonyas as well, does have the luxury of the stopwatch, didn't actually need to use it in that fight.
Yeah, and I do think that, in general, DFM probably want more of those kind of messy team fights. If you can have the Akali and the Sylas, spread out, hitting multiple people. Because if everyone is grouped up, diving on the same target for DFM, then you essentially have to fight through this Kennen, who's going to be ulting everyone, and you have double marksman kind of sitting in the back shooting. That can be very, very difficult. They want to either be straight onto the back line, bursting someone out, or splitting it up. Before,
though, getting the fight kicked off here. It's just going to keep dashing in, but is now locked in the middle of the team. Finds the reset on the stun. Immediately leaps onto Udapon, but just gets deleted. Arrow comes in as well. It is going to be the 1-for-1, but it's Ceros in the backline. He's stolen the assault, but another kill going to drop is the Kindred. Is now down as well. Evie trying to extend the play. 1 dash forward. Could look for a second one as well. Triple kill coming in for Udapon. Not going to get the Quadra. Ceros takes it away, but that's going to be the Baron for Detonation Focus Me, and Rocky is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, Rocky was down on the bottom side, so it's Mega actually engaging without their other Soul Laner. G4 dove so deep on that one, trying to make something happen, but they were going to be down a man, and it cost them 4 unanswered kills, and the Baron. DFM getting everything out of that, and now in full control of this game.
And remember that if Mega lose here, that they are out of contention. They will get to play the rest of their games today, but they will see no more time on the MSI stage. For Detonation Focus Me, they're fighting for a tiebreaker. It's critical for them to find a win.
I mean, Mega mathematically, I believe, still would have a chance, because there's only 3 wins, I think, on any given team.
You can force a 4-way tiebreaker if Mega win.
Exactly, but that would still be very unlikely. And here it is again. G4 playing very, very aggressively. Remember, Akali is in top lane, so much closer. They see the TP coming in, but they are still very aggressively moving forward for this fight. Rocky is so far away. This is not on him. There's no way that Rocky was ever going to be able to actually respond to that. So Mega should not have been looking for the fight. I think G4 just did not realize how quickly the DFM squad could respond and how close the rest of them were.
And you can see the story of this game was leads. Pretty early on, around 10 minutes, you saw Mega pretty much in complete control, and how quickly it changed on the back of a messy team fight into a complete wipe, and now the Baron being the biggest spike in the favor of Detonation Focus Me.
And it was always very close in goal, right? It was never that far behind, for DFM. Plus, they always had all these additional dragons. So now they have the neutral objective advantage. They have full control over this dragon area, likely going to be able to grab their 5th. They have the Baron buff. They have a gold lead. Everything is really starting to come up really, really well for them. You can see Udapon not only finishes Duskblade, but he also has the Night's Edge as well. So that is so much lethality on this guy. He is really, really terrifying for this ultimate.
And there's just about no armor on the enemy team either.
He's going to be doing pretty much true damage to everyone.
Ash Arrow stolen away now. Ceros can just use that to threaten the engage. Pop has to be very careful. This next Devour could be game deciding. If he fails or hits the wrong target. And Nation Focus be continuing to push forward, want to use this powered cannon creep. Not a lot of tools to take it out outside of the Ashe volley, and Evie just kind of escorting these cannon minions in. Rocky not ready to 100% step forward yet.
Yeah, one thing to say is DFM don't have the best siege, right? They kind of have to pressure multiple lanes because it is a little bit difficult for the MF to just start up, you know, walk and start hitting the turret. There's no like protection for her, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have the Palm Catch behind, and they're going for an engage actually on the
Speaking
top
of the
side.
Palm Catch behind, they have managed to lock the support. Yutapon just waiting, looking for an opportunity to hit the ult. One has connected now. That Silas ult is so massive. The arrow taking out half of Ashe's health. She's healing up quickly though with the Blade of the Rune King, but big engage as we do see Akali break the bottom side tower as Kennen is forced to walk up just in case the fight does continue.
Yeah, you can see the AP ratio on that Silas stolen Ashe ultimate. That was so much damage. Yeah. Legit half of Lloyd's health just went away, and now DFM into the base here, working on 2 inhibitor towers at once, but G4 is fishing.
Have to be careful though. Stepping too far into Yutapon's ultimate could very well be the end of the game. Only a level 15 MF, not the level 3 on the bullet time, but just now getting level 16 as I bring it up is going to be massive. And Evie just taking the attention of a lot of different members. The creeps alone forcing some response here. Rocky putting the Banshee's Veil to good use to play a little bit more aggressively here. Aurelia ult has now been stolen. See how strong this one is going to be on the back of that Ashe Shadow. Decent amount of damage to get the fight kicked off. Pop now trying to save G4, but that's going to put Ashe in a difficult scenario. If Ceros wants to step forward, the flash to the backline. Rocky wants to delete Yutapon. Yutapon taken out. This fight could just turn in the favor of Mega. Evie now trying to turn it back. Ceros in the midst of everyone. Evie needs to find a big execution here. He finds one, tries to find June as well. Steel coming in. Evie's popping off in the fight. Members kept alive by the Kindred ultimate, trying to buy a little more time for his fight. Is not enough. Double kill for Evie. They're turning the fight in their favor. Rocky zoned out. Evie's going to try to get one more. Steel going to take it in the end. Detonation Focus Me now poised to end.
Yeah, they're going to do it here, Dracos. DFM have done it, winning the fight in the base here. They'll be able to close this one out.
Moving in for a bit more. Rocky, no ultimate available, just threatening, just posturing. Now going to buy a bit more time with the stopwatch, but will just get taken down, and it is a long, slow goodbye for the side of Mega. Have to be hurting on the back of that game. Once again, Detonation Focus Me when it counts. Puts their money where their mouths are and are able to move up to 3-1 in the group.